Hello everybody and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we got pretty slim pickings. I think we only have one first appearance, 4 honorable mentions, so only 5 titles all to go through, but there's definitely some books in there to consider for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week ending May 23rd, 2025. First up from Image Comics, Spawn: The Curse of Shirley Johnson #1. This features the first appearance of The Stranger, also the first appearance of the Crimson Seraph, and the first appearance of Bellerophon. Now this here harkens back to Spawn #5 from 1982, and this series here explores the afterlife of Shirley Johnson, the 17-year-old girl who becomes Billy Kincaid's 28th victim. Now the Spawn franchise has been getting a lot of attention over the past couple years, becoming a lot more popular. Definitely a bigger fan base and bigger audience growing for the Spawn franchise. This here is a spin-off series, The Spawn: The Curse of Shirley Johnson, so I'm really not sure how this particular miniseries will do, or this particular spin-off series, but this here does have a few first appearances. Now if they do bring these characters into the broader Spawn universe, across a lot more of the Spawn title series, then this is one you definitely want to pick up and add to your collection. If they don't, and these characters really just stay in this one particular title series, this here kind of spin-off series of the Spawn universe, then it's really hard to say how popular or important this book's going to be in the future. Spawn is getting a lot more fans and a lot more collectors taking interest in the Spawn universe, so like I said, maybe worth picking up for the cover price. This one here, definitely going to be a little bit speculative, but for the cover price, maybe worth a spec. Grab this here for a spec if you can. And now for the honorable mentions. From Marvel Comics, Spider-Man and Wolverine #1. Now the only reason we put this on the list is because this here is the premiere issue of this new ongoing series. Typically when there's a new ongoing series, not just one-shots, that feature incredibly popular characters that have huge fan base and huge collector base, these books are typically worth picking up. Right now, we don't really have any confirmed first appearances in this issue, but a lot of times these premiere issues do have some first appearances hidden in them that kind of come out later on. So, for the cover price, $3 or $4, probably worth picking up. Definitely going to be speculative because you are speculating on the continuity of the series becoming popular with fans and collectors, and the possibility there may be some first appearances in this issue. But Spider-Man, Wolverine, probably two of the most popular and most heavily collected characters in the Marvel Universe, so I don't think you could really go wrong with this for a couple dollars. Probably worth picking up for the cover price, so go ahead and grab this one here if you can. Next up from DC Comics, Superman Unlimited #1. Now just like the previous comic, the only reason we put this one here on the list is because this here is the premiere issue of this new ongoing series written by Dan Slott. Now Dan Slott, very popular writer for the Superman franchise, and the fact that this here is a premiere issue of this new ongoing series, the Superman Unlimited series, this one here may be worth picking up. Once again, gonna be speculative because you are speculating on this series becoming popular with fans and collectors and kind of going into the future. If this series just goes for 10, 15, 20 issues and then it gets canceled, then it may not go anywhere long term. But you do have the premiere issue of a new Superman series here, written by Dan Slott. You do have quite a few things going for this title, and if there are some hidden first appearances of new characters in this issue, then this is one you definitely want to have in your collection. Definitely going to be speculative, because you are speculating on the popularity of this new series, but like I always say, $3 or $4 may be worth picking up. Grab this here for a spec if you can. Next up from DC Comics, Superman #1 Variant Edition. Now this here is the exact same comic we just mentioned, but this here is the variant cover edition featuring the CEO of DC Studios, James Gunn, on the cover. Now this one here, we typically don't put variant covers on our list because there's just so many variant covers for all these titles that are coming out. But whenever those covers do feature a celebrity or somebody very important in the comic book world, we typically do recommend those because they typically become very popular with fans and collectors, and they're books you definitely want to own in your collection. This here issue has James Gunn on the cover. As far as I know, this here is the only comic book issue featuring James Gunn on the cover. And as you guys know, he is rewriting the DC Universe for film. And if any of those new movies become very popular with fans and collectors, this one here is going to be very hot. Now this here is definitely going to be speculative because you are speculating on the popularity of James Gunn's vision of the DC Universe. But if his vision is actually accepted by fans and collectors and people really like it, then this is one you definitely want to have in your collection. Definitely going to be speculative, but in my opinion, worth the spec. Grab this here for a spec if you can. And finally from Image Comics, Sleep #1. When Jonathan Reason falls asleep, he becomes something else. Every night it stalks his quiet town, killing indiscriminately. When he wakes covered in blood, our story begins. This new horror mystery series shows us the horrifying waking hours of an unwilling part-time killer. Now this here is also the premiere issue of this new ongoing series. Now, we put this on the list because this sounds like it can easily lend itself to a small screen, big screen project, and Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up an option in the past. If this hits the screen, gets a lot more eyes on this particular title, then collectors are going to race back to the secondary market and try to find this premiere issue. Now, this here is definitely going to be speculative because you are specking on this actually getting option, getting a lot more eyes on it, and getting a lot more collectors interested. Now, if this doesn't get option, definitely just going to rely on word of mouth, and it really depends on how popular this series is as to how much fans and collectors are really going to like this particular title series. Now, these small press and indie publishers, we love to spec on these because when they go big, they go really big. And if they don't, they just die on the shelf, you're really not losing all that much money. A lot of times you can still get out at the cover price or maybe even a little bit more or less. So in our opinion, these are great specs. Grab this here for a spec if you can. So there you have the 5 titles we have for you guys this week. Very light week, but definitely some books in there to consider for your collection. So please feel free to drop me some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.